So I made this drawing on this paper bag of what my blade was going to look like in my last video, and I selected a particular piece of a lawnmower blade to work with here, one that appears to not be rusting too quickly, which might indicate that it's actually got some corrosion resistance, and it's long enough that I can make my entire knife out of it. But as you can see, it's got a pretty wicked bend up here at the end, and it's already got some tapering where the cutting edge has been beat into the lawnmower blade. And so I'm going to have to make some cuts out of this thing to get it to the shape that I want, and then I'll have to forge this back into a flat piece of iron, and then after I've got it sort of trimmed down to the shape I want, I'll stick it up in my little toaster oven up there, and I will anneal the blade a little bit so that it's not quite so hard before I go to doing some work on it, getting it shaped up a little closer. And then I will put on my final heat treat, get everything sort of squared up, and once that's done, I will work at grinding it out. Now, the reason I'm going to do the annealing process sort of in the middle, after I heat this thing up to straighten it out a little bit and get to cutting on with the grinder, trying to get a bunch of this stuff done this evening. So I'm actually going to heat this thing up, and I'm going to quench it relatively quickly in a bucket of water in here. And so there's always a chance that could cause some stress fractures or things like that, but these lawnmower blades, they tend to be fairly resilient in terms of that kind of stuff. If this was steel that was apt to do that, it would probably not last in a lawnmower. But nonetheless, once I've worked it into the shape, I will cook it for some time up there in the oven just to soften it back up so that I can drill pins and things like that before I do my final hardening. So I've got my piece of lawnmower blade in my forge heating up. Once it gets a little warmer, I'll take it over to my power hammer here and tap it out a bit. Once it's mostly flat, I'm going to quench it in water, which is probably not the best thing to do, but I need to get it cooled down so I can continue to work with it. I will, in all likelihood, then temper it a bit in my toaster oven to make it softer before I go about working on the handle. Between now and then, I can do a whole lot of shaping to the blade as soon as this sucker heats up. Another thing, you don't have to spend all kinds of money on expensive antique blacksmithing tools. I actually use these long needle-ended vice grips that work pretty good. They don't last super long. They're about maybe $14 a pair or something like that. Last me a couple months. They're no good. They get relegated to the scrap pile, but for the most part, they do a decent enough job. And so I don't have any tongs like most blacksmiths. But again, I'm not a blacksmith. I'm just a hobby knife maker. Mike, Kessler Mountain Trading Company, making a knife out of recycled metal. Mike here at Kessler Mountain Trading Company. Just giving you a quick update. You can see I hammered some texture into the blade to sort of mask that big spot. Didn't do too bad a job. Gave me a nice irregular bevel, that's always cool. Same with the other side. You can see I hammered more towards the middle than I did the outside edge because it's mashed in now. Got my nice bevel ground down. We're at about a 50 on the Rockwell hardness scale, 50, 55, somewhere in that range. Pins are in. Everything's cleaned up. Only thing left to do is glue on the scales and then finish up the handle, and then we'll work on sharpening and making a case. So check back, should be another video soon. It's Mike at Kessler Mountain Trading Company, making a knife out of recycled metal. It's in the vise. The glue has been applied, the holes are drilled, the blade is ground. Everything's fine, it's not too hard. It's all clamped up. I don't know if I got enough glue around the lanyard. I may have to add a little glue after I'm done. Depends on how much grinding I have to do. Now I just gotta wait for my 5-minute epoxy to set up. Note to self, and all you fans out there, or even if you're not fans and you're just watching it because you're really bored, which is probably a more likely scenario, here at Kessner Mountain Trading Company, we know 5-minute epoxy can dry as fast as 3 minutes or as slow as 2 hours. Just depends on how poorly you are at measuring and mixing equal amounts of epoxy resin and hardener. I think I got a little bit too much resin in this. It seems to be setting up a little bit slower. So we'll see how it turns out. Going to have a whole bunch of a series of videos about this knife. It's going to be on my YouTube channel. So everybody out there in Facebook land, you can take a look at this. And if you're interested, look me up on YouTube. Kessner Mountain Trading Company. It's Mike here. Bye. Mike here at Kessner Mountain Trading Company, making some progress on the old recycled metal knife. Got a nice found wood handle, and if you're not sure what found wood is, it's wood that I don't know what it is, and I can't tell what it is, but it was a piece I found on the other side of the shop. So it's likely poplar or oak, and the fact that I can't tell them apart tells you all you need to know about my forestry skills. But you can see the blade, how it turned out. I left that forged patina and the hammer marks on there. Notice the feathered edge on the cutting edge of the blade. It's because I haven't sharpened it yet. That's just the edge that you get from a 36 grit sanding belt or a 24 grit sanding belt on a small benchtop belt sander. One brass pin, one aluminum lanyard, one tiny little leather loop. Going to make a case for it next, and then show that when it's done. Got one of those little GoPro like cameras ordered, and so it'll make it a little easier for me to make videos of the process instead of these little snippets showing you bits and pieces here and there. But for now, I'm recording all this with my phone, as you can tell by the way it's bouncing around. And so I can't work and record both because at Kessner Mountain Trading Company we have a very limited budget and a staff of 1. Mike here at Kessner Mountain Trading Company. I've finished the recycled metal knife, the Skinner knife that I've been talking about. Turned out pretty nice. Case is okay. One little problem. Made the daggone case left-handed. Automatically just blocked off my cell potential here to, what, 93% of the population, something like that. Now those 7% that are wrong arms. Got a nice little knife here. Hit me up if you're interested in it. Well, just goes to show you can make a pretty decent looking knife out of scrap you find lying around the shop, if you take the time to put it together.